here to tell you guys my story on how I found out I was pregnant at 18. So, um, prior to me taking the pregnancy test or whatever, I was having like a lot of headaches, but I thought it was just, coming from me not eating or me not wearing my glasses like I'm supposed to, or like simple stuff like that. I never thought I was, pregnant or whatever. So September the 9th or whatever, my period was supposed to come on, and it didn't. So it kept like getting pushed back. Like it would have been the 9th, then it would have got pushed back to the 10th, then it would have got pushed back to the 12th or whatever. So when it kept getting pushed, like study kept getting pushed back and pushed back or whatever, I never paid no attention. I was just like, well, it's just late, so it's gonna come on or whatever. But when it didn't come on the 12th, I was like, oh my god. I started thinking about pregnancy, but I was like, that was like the last thing or whatever that I was thinking about. And so it was the last thing that I was thinking about or whatever. So I texted my friend and I told her, I was like, my period 3 days late or whatever. She was like, oh my god, Miracle, like, do you need to take a pregnancy test? You need to take a pregnancy test or whatever. I was like, no, I'm not gonna take no pregnancy test because I'm not pregnant or whatever. So then I come home one weekend because I go to college at Francis Marion. So I came home one weekend and she was like, I got one at home you can get or whatever, and you can take that. So I went to go get it or whatever, and I snuck in the bathroom at my grandma's house and I took it, and it was a digital one. Like it said, it would tell you like if you were pregnant and if you was not. Like, so I took that one and I flipped it over because I was nervous, and at the time I was on FaceTime with her and she was like, flip it over or whatever. So I let her saw it first, and I covered up my eyes and I let her saw it, and it said that I was pregnant or whatever. So I'm crying and crying and crying. I'm like, what I'm gonna do with a baby? Like, I'm living my best life, so what I'm gonna do with a baby? Like, I want kids, but like right now, no, I don't want no or whatever. So then she was like, Miracle, go take another one, go take another one. This is not true, this is not true. So go take another one. So I go buy another one or whatever. Those came back kind of like it was saying, like it wasn't saying that I was pregnant and it wasn't saying that I wasn't. So I was like, well, I'm gonna just call him and tell him or whatever. And I was like, he gonna be on the phone with me when I tell him? She was like, yeah, I was like, just put yourself on mute. And so we called him or whatever, and we tell him. He was just like, y'all, he was just not waking up from a nap or whatever. So it was like, he really didn't believe us because I was playing, and I'm a goofy person, so I don't take serious situations like for real. So I was telling him, but he was like, y'all pricking me. Like, this is not for real. I was like, no, we are not playing. This is like for real. He was like, I'm going to buy 2 more or whatever. Right now, I'm getting in my car. I'm going to go buy some more or whatever. And I was like, okay, fine. And he brought them to me, to my grandma's house. And I took them, and those came back positive as well as the first one that I took. So I'm just crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. Like, I was just study saying, like, what am I gonna do with a baby? Like, a baby, y'all, a baby or whatever. So I'm just like, I'm shocked. So I get to, telling him or whatever, and he was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, what you oh my God for? Like, you know what it take to have a child? So I was, the first person that I told was my friend, of course, because she was on the phone with me when we was going through all this or whatever. But the second person I told was my sister or whatever. And she was like, I'm disappointed because I didn't know you were sexually active or whatever, and stuff like that. So after I told my sister, like a week, like a few days later, I told my uncle and my mama or whatever, because my mom was supposed to come down here, but she had changed her mind or whatever, and she didn't have come. So we get on the phone, we calling her, and we was like, you still coming? She was like, no, or whatever. And I was like, Kira, I'm scared to tell. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna say it. So my sister get my mom on the phone, and we goes into my uncle room, and we telling both of them at the same time. So she was like, you a grandma or whatever. And my mom was like, you lying. Like, my mama didn't believe, like, she was in shock. And my uncle was like, Kira, you lying. Like, that's and my mom thought it was my sister. And my sister was like, no, it's not me, it's Miracle. So my uncle was like, Kira, you lying or whatever. And my mom was like, oh my, like, she was excited, but she was like shocked too at the same time. So my uncle just like, he just like looking at me, and like you could tell that his eyes was tearing up. But I don't think that, that he was like wanting to cry in front of me or whatever. I was study saying, I was like, say something. I was like, cause you just like looking at me. He was just like looking at me and looking at me, and I was like, say something or whatever. So he walked back in the room and closed the door. So I'm just sitting there like, well, what is he gonna say? Is he gonna be mad? Is he gonna be happy? Like, my uncle is very unpredictable, so I thought he was like not gonna talk to me for like 2 days or whatever. But turns out he came like 5 to 10 minutes later. He came in the front room and was like, you 18, you grown, you got to take care of the baby. You're going to graduate from college, because either if you drop out of college, that's going to make it hard, and if you graduate from college, that's going to make the baby life even easier or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'm still, because I wasn't planning on dropping out of college or whatever. I was going to like motivate myself and finish college, like, no matter what. So he giving me the pep talk or whatever, and then we goes to go tell my grandma, and she said that she already knew. I was like, okay. She was like, she had told her boyfriend that Miracle gonna be coming here to tell one of us something that's like very important or whatever. I was like, okay. And I had to tell my grandma, I was like, keep this to yourself, because my grandma is the type to she's the type to not hold water. Like, she can't keep nothing to herself, like nothing to herself. So like a week or two later, then I told my great grandma. But after so I told my great grandma or whatever, and basically I told like my close friends Oh, and they was excited. But the purpose of like this video is to like take y'all with me through my journey or whatever of being pregnant.